Welcome back to the Snarky in the Suburbs podcast. This is episode 19 and it's called I Was a Bridezilla. This is going to be so much fun. We have a Dear Snarky letter that made me laugh, cry, my heart went pitter-pat. Super funny. I can't wait to get into that. Then my peeve is grandparenting, what people expect the grandparents to do. I have a lot to say on that topic, although not a grandparent, but yet when has that stopped me from weighing in on anything? Then in the Dear Snarky Confessional, yes, I'm taking a trip to the Snarky Confessional as I do every podcast. And this one is my confession about how I think I might have been a bridezilla. Me. Who would have thunk it? Repressed memories became unrepressed. And I was like, oh my God. Anywho, let's start with the letter because it's super fun and it's going to make you laugh. Okay, here it is. Dear Snarky, my son is getting married in 5 months. I think his bride is lovely, but I also think now that she hates me. I say this because she has sent me the gown she wants me to wear to the wedding, like mailed me a gown with the receipt enclosed so I could pay her back. So it was not a gift. The dress was a surprise to me because since I'm a grown-ass woman, I'm used to picking out my own clothes. In a word, this is the most hideous dress I've ever seen. The color is a muddy brown with some olive undertones. It has long sleeves, hits at my ankles, has what I would call a mock turtleneck. It's shapeless and looks like a house coat and a hospital gown had a baby. There is no way I want to wear a dress that makes me look like I'm insane. I even asked one of my nicest friends, who never has a bad word to say about anything, to come over and take a look at this dress. She looked me right in the eyes and said, "Why does your future daughter-in-law hate you?" I don't understand why the bride wants me to wear such an ugly dress, especially since I've seen what her mom is wearing, and it is a gorgeous full-length beaded gown. Meanwhile, I guess I'm supposed to wear something most nuns would probably find too conservative and unattractive. How do I get out of wearing this dress? I do not want to start off on the wrong foot with my son's almost wife and end up in a Dear Snarky letter. But I also think she's overstepping by dictating what I wear. And why does she want me to look horrible? Signed, I don't want to be that mother-in-law, but I think I'm about to be that mother-in-law. Okay. Y'all, I told you it was hilarious. So funny. Okay, here is what I think, dear, I don't want to be that mother-in-law. What I would suggest you do, and then we'll dive deeper into, different things about the letter, is I would contact my future daughter-in-law, and I would do it via text and writing, and I would make sure your son is on that text and go, oh my gosh, thank you for sending me this lovely dress. I so appreciate you thinking of me, but I already have a dress for the wedding. That's it. Keep it like that. You could include that you'll be sending the dress back to her so she couldn't return it since the receipt was enclosed. But simple, super sweet. Like I said, make sure your son's copied so nothing gets lost in translation. So she doesn't, tell your son, your mother was horribly rude to me and sent me back the dress. So do that and leave it at that. Leave nothing open for discussion. You're being very succinct about what is happening. You have a dress, back off. But you're doing it, very, very nicely. Now, why the bride would want you to look that ugly at her and your son's wedding, I don't have an answer to that. The fact that the mother of the bride is wearing a gorgeous beaded gown, things that come to mind. Pure conjecture. Of course, I don't know what you look like. I don't know your fashion style, nor do I know the mother of the brides. Maybe the bride didn't want you to overshadow her mom. Maybe you're like a knockout. You're drop dead gorgeous. So she was trying to make sure that you dressed down and did not look attractive, which is unkind. I'm going to say that. Maybe her mom, the mother of the bride, was like, she's going to wear something that's, low cut and we're just going to send her a dress. So maybe that happened. Maybe the bride thought that you would, steal the spotlight. and God forbid wear white. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you would do that. But for some reason, they wanted you to not look your best. And I can give you 100 reasons why. None of them are going to make you happy. So why don't we just do this? Why don't you just tell yourself that, you know what? She probably meant the best, but I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm just going to wear what I want to wear because, as you said, you are a grown-ass woman, and I'm just going to keep a smile on my face and not bring it up. Although, if the bride brings up, well, I really wanted you to wear that dress, this is when I would say, honey, I've already sent it back to you. So there's that. I know many of my friends have had sons and daughters that have gotten married. And especially the ones that have had sons gotten married. Many, I know like 3 or 4. Their future daughter-in-laws had very strict instructions about what they could wear, what color family it had to be in, could it be beaded, sleeves, you name it. If all the way to the floor or cocktail length. They had very specific rules about what they wanted the mother of the groom to look like. And to that I say, get over yourself, brides. Get over yourself. You know what? It's hard out there. It is hard out there shopping for any kind of wedding gown if you're a mother of the bride or mother of the groom. And when you put all these restrictions on it, you're making it almost impossible for your future mother-in-law or your mom to find a dress. So I understand color family. If you could stay in the blue family, because there's a lot of blues, okay? Or, I don't know, the yellow family, which would definitely be harder. But God, I just want to say to every bride out there, and I have a daughter, she's not married yet, she just turned 25. I predict she'll be married within 3 years. And I will tell this to her face, get over yourself. Get over yourself, okay? No one's going to usurp you. No one's going to be more beautiful than you. You will be the center of attention. And God knows a woman probably 50 plus, guessing 60 plus, is not going to look better than the damn bride. And I would want to imbue the bride with this challenge. Get some self-confidence. What can I do to help you have more self-confidence? That is not me wearing a brown dress with all of overtones that looks like, what did she say? Like a hospital gown and a house coat had a baby? No, absolutely not. I would want everyone to look my best because when people look their best, they are really happy. And I would want happy people at my wedding. So all these rules and regulations, get over yourself, brides. Take a step back. We're older women. It is hard for us to find things that we like or look good in. Please do not make it worse with all your restrictions. And as of the bride sending her future mother-in-law a hideous dress that she wants her to wear, well, that is not a great way at all to start off a relationship. Clothing is so personal. You just shouldn't do that. I mean, you could send your future mother-in-law, a t-shirt that said future mother-in-law or something, but a dress that she's going to have pictures in that will probably be shown at her funeral when they do the whole funeral video? No, she doesn't want to look hideous. She'll be miserable the whole time, and people will think if you put the mother-in-law in a hideous dress that she's mad and didn't want her son to get married. She looked horrible. It's like she didn't put any effort in. You should have seen the dress she wore. It was an F you to the bride. It was so hideous. You don't want that. So, in conclusion of this rant, and Dear Snarky letter answer, back off, brides. Back off. You can tell a color family and you can say, we'd love it if it was a gown, not cocktail length or whatever. Other than that, back out of it. Let us poor older women find something we feel good in, that we feel comfortable in, and leave us the hell alone. There, I said it. And as for you, I don't want to be that mother-in-law. Dear God in heaven, literally praying, hands clasped, that you give us an update. Because I want to see what happens. I want to see if you saying, oh, I have a dress, thank you very much, and you sending the dress back. I want to see if there's a volley back. Like she hits the ball back to you. Curious. So curious. So please let us know. Okay, I'm done, y'all. I could go on about that for probably another hour, but because I love you, I will not do that to you. Okay, my peeve. My peeve, y'all, if you were watching on YouTube, I keep on wiping my nose. Allergies are hideous. My peeve is grandparents as a category. I have noticed a lot. Gosh, for the 2 years I have been on the TikTok, I have noticed people complaining how their parents suck as grandparents. And this one lady's on there all the time. You know why millennials are so tired? It's because our parents don't help us. No, you're tired because you are a parent now, and parenting is exhausting. And I have grown children in their 20s, and they still exhaust me. So that's why. To be a parent is to be exhausted at times. Deal with it. It's not your parents' fault that you're tired. It's your kids' fault. Okay? Start blaming the kids, not your parents. So anyways, there is this myth, and I'm going to indeed call it a myth, that grandparents should be helping out more with the kids, be more involved in their grandchildren's lives, doing a lot more than they are. People are saying their parents do nothing. Their parents hardly see their kids. And to that I say that's really sad if that's happening. That is very sad. But anyone that says they had kids hoping that their parents would pitch in are fools. You should not have a child unless you are ready to take care of your child 100%. And there's all these stories about how grandparents suck. And about, oh gosh, I think it was a year ago, I did a brilliant, monologue about grandparents and the different stages. You have the go-go when you're young, you're ready to go. You can do all the physical lifting, the heavy stuff. You have the slow go where you're slowing down because you're a lot older and there's a lot of stuff you can't do. Just the physicality of lifting a child in a car seat. Maybe that's too much for you now. You got bad knees. Your hips are hurting. And then you have the no-go where they're just too old. I am very prejudiced about this because I saw my grandma and grandpa, who I loved, 2 times a year. They weren't taking us to school. We would go visit them Christmas and summer, and we would see them, and we loved them very, very much. And I still remember my grandpa was a coal miner in West Virginia. Like he went down into the mines, and I remember coming home. I mean, he'd come home from work, and he'd all be covered in coal dust. And to me, that was just fascinating that your grandpa would look like that, covered in coal dust. And then they had an outside shower, my grandma, so he could shower off that coal dust before he came into her house. So yeah. They weren't raising me. They weren't packing lunches. My parents weren't taking a couple trips, and my grandparents were helping out. My dad didn't even have parents. They were long gone. Then my husband and I, for a short time when we had kids, we lived in the same town as both sets of parents. My in-laws barely did anything, which is fine. They were both working. So cool. My parents, I was the youngest of 4. I waited till I was 35 to have my first kid. My parents were old. Okay? They were no-goes. I mean, they would hire a babysitter when I brought the kids over so the babysitter could help. They just couldn't do it. It's not their fault. I'm the one that waited till I was 35 to have a damn kid, okay? They couldn't do it. So I don't get, these people that have these memories of their grandparents doing everything, and maybe they did. Maybe you were lucky and you had grandparents like that. The proximity was close enough. Your grandparents were a lot younger. But people have to work for a long time. You don't even get Social Security to 67 and a half, and I could be wrong on that. It's expensive out there. And I'm going to tell you what, if you think grandparents aren't doing a lot now, just wait till they check their retirement accounts. They're going to have to keep on working because it sucks. So I'm just over it. I'm over the whining. You have kids, you must be fully prepared to take care of those children. And then I think it was the Atlantic. I don't know, maybe it was the New Yorker, but they did a whole thing on grandparents. And they had a study that showed that grandparents now do more than ever. They also help financially support their kids, all this stuff. And then in the comments, which cracked me up, seriously, it said that it was from grown adults bitching about their parents being grandparents, and it said, that's what grandparents think. If you ask the grandparents, the study's flawed because they think they're doing everything when they're doing nothing. Get over it, people. Get over it. Your parents are probably doing the best they can. If they don't want to see your grandkids, they suck, and that's on them. But stop. You're tired because you have kids. There should be, when you decide you're going to start a family, there should not be expectations that your parents are going to help you raise your kids, because that is probably not going to happen. And if you think you're going to need your parents' help to raise the kids, think very hard about having kids. That's all I'm saying. I don't mean to come off as mean. Once again, not a grandparent. And once again, I don't have the life experience of having a grandparent really present in my life, because like I said, my dad didn't have parents, and we saw my grandparents when I was growing up, Christmas, summer vacation, that's it. My parents were always there. So, and then my husband and I didn't have any help. So yeah, I may be a little prejudiced, but you can do it. You can raise your kids without your parents' help. Also, and this is going to be so bad, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think about this a lot. I have friends that did not like being parents. They were excellent parents. They loved their kids very much. They really did like being parents, okay? So, I'm trying to think the best way to phrase this. So, when their kids grew up and flew the nest and were successful, they were out of the house, they were done. I mean, they love their kids. They were not into the grandparent thing. So, you also have to think about that. A lot of parents think, I did my job, I'm done raising, I want to see my grandkids some with the parents there, and then and then they can leave. They can go home, because I didn't really like being a parent, and I'm really not into being a grandparent. No one would ever verbalize that except to close friends of the same age, but that could be it too. If some parent is not willing to, be the grandparent that you want, you can't guilt them into it. You can't go on social media and bitch about it to make them do it. They're just not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. So those of you that have grandparents that help out a ton, God bless. You are so lucky. Most of us don't have that, and that's okay. There are days when it sucks, I'll tell you that. But you know what? You can do it. You can do it. I'm just sick of all this bashing of grandparents. Especially someone that didn't have any help and someone that wasn't raised that way. I'm just like, okay, it can be done. It can be done. And if you are a grown adult raising children and things are sucking in your life, it's probably not your parents' fault. So maybe you need to look at different stuff. At what age do we quit blaming our parents for everything? I just turned 64, people. Yikes. I have friends that are my age that are still blaming their parents for crap. I'm like, at some point, you got to acknowledge it and you got to let it go so you can grow and move on. Still, one woman still complains about the college her parents made her go to. I'm like, oh my God, how many years have you been out of college? More than 40. Let it go. Stop. Anyways, that's that rant. Gosh, it's rant-rific, isn't it? So that's it for that. Now let's end. Oh, I gotta have a sip. Hold on. Diet Coke. From McDonald's. So delicious. Not in a McDonald's cup though. My confession from the Snarky Confessional is that I've had some repressed memories that have become, I've allowed to grow in my brain, to come out of the shadows. I think I was a freaking Bridezilla. I was a 1984 Bridezilla. Let me tell you 3 things that have caused me to come to this conclusion. So my husband and I are about to celebrate our 41st wedding anniversary. So I was looking at some photos. I was like, and then I remembered. I hadn't really forgotten. I just chose not to think about that. Some very Bridezilla behavior I had during my wedding. First, there was the incident where I threatened to beat my sister over the head with a marble rolling pin. So all the wedding presents were at my mom's house. I walk in and my sister, hand to God, is leaving my mom's house with a marble rolling pin, a really nice one, like I think a fancy one from France, okay, with a marble rolling pin and a couple other my wedding presents. And I'm like, stop, what are you doing? And she's like, well, you have 2 marble rolling pins. She goes, so I took the best one because I cook and you don't. I'm like, bitch, I cook. Lean cuisine. And then she took some other like baking stuff. And I'm like, what the hell? She goes, you've gotten so many wedding presents. It's the least you can do because I'm having to put up with you. Oh my God. Okay, at this time, I was 22. My sister just turned 24. We are about to like get into it. And I actually was brandishing a marble rolling pin. And I said, if you take that stuff, I will hit you over the head with that rolling pin because I had grabbed it. I mean, I was serious, people. I would have just banged her over the head. Luckily, my mother came in and crisis averted. But yeah, I was so mad. And to this day, when I see a marble rolling pin, I think of my sister and I want to hit her in the head all over again. Who does that? Who thinks they can just take their sister's wedding presents? Meanwhile, my mom, after my sister left, I was ranting about it. Shocking, I know. My mom's like, it would have been nice if you'd let her take in a few things. You've gotten so much, Sherry. No, I'm not sharing wedding presents. And I'm furious that my mother thought I should. My husband came in, well, then my fiance came in during like the tail end of that. And he was mad for me, which made me love him even more. I'm like, what the hey? And he's like, yeah, that's just wrong. That's ridiculous. So yeah, love him. Okay, but I'm serious. If my mom had not come in, I'm wondering if I would have beaten her. I don't think so, but I'm not sure. Okay, that's Bridezilla moment number 1. Bridezilla moment number 2. Okay, I had asked my cousin, because there were only 3 girls in the whole family. Of all the brothers, parents, brothers, sisters, there were only 3 girls. There was me, my sister, and my cousin. So I had to have my cousin in my wedding. Although she was younger than me, she was in high school at the time. So I asked her to be a bridesmaid. So come to find out, I'm pretty sure this is how this went down. My cousin wore her bridesmaid's dress to her prom, which was 2 weeks before my wedding. Guess what happened to that bridesmaid's dress, which was white, by the way? It got stained, hem issues. So my aunt calls me and she's like, oh, this dress, it's ruined. I don't know what to tell you. And so then I, being a huge bridezilla, I go, well, I guess she can't be in the wedding. That's too bad. Click on the phone. Pretty much a click on the phone. So then my aunt, of course, calls my mom. My mom's aghast at my behavior. And so I tell my mom, I go, you know what? It was a gift from God because my cousin had gotten a hideous perm. I mean, truly a horrible, horrific, scary perm. It was the 80s, people. And I'm like, and she's just going to be a big hair helmet in all the pictures. So this way she's not in the wedding. And this way her hair helmet will not ruin every photo that's taken. Literally verbatim, I think that's how I said it. And my mom was like, so mad at me, so mad. I'm very disappointed in you at this moment. I go, yeah, I don't care. Like I said, gift from God. She's not in the wedding. Out. And I was done. Conversation over. Well, my mother worked out the dress thing and got the dress fixed or whatever. So my cousin was indeed in the wedding. But I was a huge bitch. Not only was I a huge bitch, I was like a proud huge bitch about it. I was a bridezilla. Now, the last one is truly frightening. Truly, truly frightening. Save the best for last, people. The night before my wedding, we'd had the rehearsal dinner. I was back at my parents' house. Mom, dad there. My grandma was there. Who packed my whole honeymoon bag, ironed everything, even my underwear. She was amazing. So she was there, and my husband, or my soon-to-be husband, for 2 days, he had debilitating stomach pains. I mean, he felt like crap all through the day before the rehearsal, during the rehearsal. So I come into where my parents and my grandma are sitting. I go, I have something to tell y'all. And they're like, what? And I tell them that I think my soon-to-be mother-in-law is poisoning my fiancé. My parents say nothing. They keep a straight face. And I go, because I have deduced, and at this time I was reading every Agatha Christie novel I could get my hands on. Loved Agatha Christie. And one of the favorite ways for murders to happen in Agatha Christie was poison. It was her favorite way to kill somebody off poison. I go, I have deduced that she is poisoning him so he feels horrible so he can't get married. I go, because she doesn't think that I'm good enough for her son. I go, which, as we all know, is laughable because I'm fabulous. Parents still saying nothing. My grandma, who never met a pot she didn't want to stir, she perks up and goes, she goes, I felt it with that woman. I felt it. I go, some women cannot let not let their sons go. They will never give up their sons. They will do anything they can to keep their sons. And I'm like, Exactly. I go, so she's poisoning him so he gets these horrible stomach aches, and then she's doing it so he won't be able to make it to the wedding tomorrow night. Got married at 7 p.m. So like we can't get married. And that way, she keeps him forever, because if he doesn't get married to me tomorrow, then he's never going to marry me. So then my parents, after that, start laughing. They start laughing. I'm like, what? Because apparently I had entered a fugue state to think that my soon-to-be mother-in-law was poisoning her son so he wouldn't marry me. But, I just did. I mean, why else would he feel bad? It never dawned on me that maybe he was nervous about getting married. None of that. It was just, it had to be poison. He was being poisoned because that's the only reason why he wasn't 100% doing cartwheels, handsprings, a whole gymnastic tumbling mat routine over getting married to me. Because that's how it should be. So then my dad, they're laughing, then they stop laughing, wipe tears out of their eyes. They were laughing so hard. And my dad goes, maybe his stomach hurts because he's just so excited about marrying you. Did you ever think of that? And I'm like, I wasn't thinking, why would that make someone's stomach hurt? I just got the positive affirmation I needed to hear that I was fantastic, and I let the topic drop. But I did think my mother-in-law, future, was poisoning her son to get him out of marrying me. So there's that. And I've told some stories about my mother-in-law, which I will not tell on the podcast, but it might have been happening based on things that occurred in my marriage. No, she wasn't poisoning him. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. If I was a detective, there would be some deductions that might think, could I have been right? No, I don't. Again, for the record, I do not think she was. But those are the 3 instances where I was a horrible bridezilla. There could be more. Maybe those are too repressed to ever come out. And you're thinking, worse than thinking that your soon-to-be mother-in-law is poisoning her son? Maybe. I don't know. If I discover them, if these repressed memories unrepress, I will share them with you in another Snarky Confessional. Okay, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Y'all, thank you so much. Have a great day. My allergies are killing me. I hope where you live, it's not like Allergy Central. I mean, seriously. It's so bad. I want to talk about my books. There's a link in my little show description. You can go check out the books. You can listen to a little audiobook sample, ebook, whatever, paperback. They're all fabulous. If you're looking for a good summer read, you need a snarky book. So please go click on that link and take a trip to Snarky Land. But other than that, other than me giving you stuff to do, have a fabulous day. You've earned it. Now go out there and maybe, I don't know, have a thought about grandparenting your daughter-in-law, future daughter-in-law, wanting you to wear a hideous wedding gown. And of course me, thinking my mother-in-law was poisoning my husband. Yeah, fun times, right, people? Oh, it's a blast. It's a blast.